NBA 2K19 tutorial number 13. Today we'll be doing an advanced mechanics study on how to use my turbo gears on-ball defense technique to stop ISO, pull-ups, paint shots, post fades, and avoid ball screens entirely. But make sure you watch tutorial number 11 before you're watching this one, because without watching that one, none of this will make any sense. So you can go to my channel's homepage and go to my all 2K19 tutorials playlist to find number 11, or actually catch up on old tutorials or even watch future ones when you want to. So this tweet by Mike Wang is actually very important if you want to play good on body. So he says, there's a thin bar under your feet when you're playing on-ball defense. It gets bigger, smaller, depending on how tight you're defending. And when the shot goes up, the bar will turn yellow if it's a light contest, red if it's a heavy or smothered, and it will stay white if the shot is considered open. So you need to check that when you can to gauge your skill to see if you're doing a good contest on every contest you make during on-ball defense, right? So here are some clips you see. I'm stopping the post fade there, and you can see that bar there is yellow. So that is a medium contest, and this one is a straight red, so that's a heavy contest. And here some online footage on the pocket. You can see me avoid the screens, close it out there, bang, and that's a yellow contest. So make sure you focus on that information, and obviously I will show you in detail how to do all of those moves on defense, but just understand this is an advanced tutorial, right? So you need to watch number 11 first, because that one's the basic. I won't explain any of the basic terms here, right? So please watch number 11 tutorial if you haven't seen this one for the definitions. So let's take a look first at going against ISO pull-ups. And what you want to do is you want to begin with gear 1, and then gear 1 to close out, and then use gear 2 to contain the drive. So if the player make any kind of on-ball dribbles towards the rim, you go into gear 2 like I did there. So gear 2 got me ahead of Mills using Delhi, and right when I know I pinned him, right, I'm going to switch to gear 1 with the right stick up to contest. So I consider this range where Patty Mills is the constant right stick up range. So when he's here, just hold gear 1 with the right stick up, hold the right stick up, and the handler has little room to maneuver here, so constant right stick up is not going to put me at a disadvantage. Pro stick defense obviously on absolute, that's the right stick up technique, and if you do that, you're never going to foul. As you can see here, he makes it, but that's because it's on Hall of Fame, but that's excellent contest. Here, CJ McCollum is a bad defender, so the Lakers want to attack him on the ISO. You can see as the dribbler makes the move, I'm using gear 2 to contain any attempt driving to the rim. That's gear 2. And make sure you also feather the left stick while you're in gear 2. Don't hold it at one angle, because you can see he stops on a dime there, but I recovered so well because I'm in gear 2 and I'm feathering the left stick. That's why my CJ McCollum is recovering very well. And with such a small gap to close, I decided to use gear 1 to close out back on the heart to just close the distance. And right here, he makes another move, so I'm going to go use gear 2 with right stick up to contain as he makes that move. And now you can see, I made the gamble on the right stick up contest because he's in that contest range, and the shot clock is winding down here, as you can see. And that's a red contest, so that's a miss. DeRozan here, as he catches the ball, is ahead of Oladipo. So I use gear 3 to close the gap, right? The bigger the gap, the higher the gear. So I'm going into gear 3 here, and I was able to close the gap. And once I close the distance, I use gear 2 to contain. Always use gear 2 when they make any dribble move towards the rim. That's gear 2 time. That's how you contain them, and I did so there. I was able to get in front of DeRozan while being in gear 2. Now he's in contest range here, so once he's pinned, I stayed on gear 2, but I held the right stick up because he's in constant contest range, and you can see full contest, right stick absolute, red contest, no fouls, because pro stick absolute, right stick up, never fouls. The Spurs here runs another set. They get it to Murray. CJ is a bit off of Murray here because this is by design. And you can see because of the distance, I use gear 3 with CJ to close the gap. I make contact with him, and as he's making a move towards the rim, I switch to gear 2 with right stick up because we're in constant contest range. Right stick up, gear 2, bump him off on the closeout. That's as contested as it can be, and that's a miss. So focus on these clips here. Now I'm going to show it to you in real time, and you can observe the techniques with no slowdown. As you're watching this, ask yourself, oh, what gear is Sam in right now? Because if you can realize what gear is being used while this is happening in real speed, that means you will be able to translate into your own skill set onto, knowing which gear to use on my gear turbo technique from tutorial number 11. Please watch that if you haven't seen it, right? And so let's take these online against these hard players with that plays a lot of prog. Look at the record. That's a lot of games and a lot of wins. And I will also show you how to use those techniques to avoid screens manually against a human screener, no less, which is way better than any computer screener you will ever face. So the best gear to use to avoid screens are gear free. So you can see me using gear. I'm the guy with the white hoodie. I'm using gear free to avoid all these screens. I'm going under here because this guy's a pure point forward, not a great shooter. And just understand this, you are harder to screen when you aren't in a defensive stance. So avoid holding L2 around screens at all times. You can see it, I never hold L2. I'm not in gear 1 or gear 2 when I'm around the screens. I don't hold L2 at all when I sense a screen is coming. I literally just run around in gear free to avoid the screen. See? That's gear free drop step. That's beautiful work avoiding the screens. And you can see, I never get screened, and I'm against a human being who has played like 400 prog games with a very high percentage winning, and he's got brick wall and all that, and I'm literally, like, he can't screen me. Like, I'm avoiding all these screens going under, and I can still close the space out to contest because I'm mostly in gear free, and I never hold L2 when I'm around screens. Never ever hold L2. And in case you're wondering, yes, we beat them because, you know, yeah, sim basketball. So, but then obviously you're gonna ask, what about contesting shots in the post and obviously contesting shots inside, right? Because those techniques for avoiding screens and also contesting mid-range and drives. So what you want to do is once a player gets to the paint range, so when they're in the paint like so, go with gear 1 with right stick held up. Alright? Gear 1 with right stick held up is, you know, as slow as you can be, but that's okay because you're in the paint and the other guy doesn't have a lot of room to maneuver, so mobility is not the key. But if you go gear 1 with right stick up, you're going to contest everything within the paint range, and you're going to be very, very balanced. And once again, you see here, LaMarcus gets into the paint range. I'm in gear 1, right stick up range. This is especially good in this case because I'm using Aminu. He's faster. And obviously, right stick up on absolute. Like I keep telling you guys, literally, you cannot foul. Look at my Amino here. I'm just in gear 1, holding right stick straight up, contesting everything, and I'm never fouling. And that's really contested. That's as red can be if you look at it. And obviously though, versus post fades on the other hand, gear 1 right stick up is not enough. You can see here as LaMarcus post fades, I am using gear 1 right stick up as my contest technique. And you can tell there's a clear gap between Aminu and LaMarcus here, which lowers the contest grade. And with someone as great as LaMarcus is on, you know, post fades, he's gonna hit that, especially when it's on Hall of Fame or online. So post fade contest, if you know the guy's post fading, you're gonna need gear free with right stick straight up. Alright? So you can see I'm using Tony Snell here, and Kuzma is about to fade on me. When they begin the post, I'm using right stick gear up because in case, you know, he does a hook shot, right? So when they're not fading, I'm in gear 1 right stick up. But as the fade comes, I go into gear 3 right stick up to close the gap. You can see this time Tony Snell run towards Kuzma on this closeout, and there's no gap in between, and you can tell that's a red contest, as you can see from the red spot underneath Tony Snell's feet. That's an excellent contest. So if you know they're post fading, you're gonna gear up towards gear 3 and hold the right stick up to close the distance. You can see it again, the Hall of Fame Spurs is setting up their offense. And I'm doing pretty good with CJ using my gear technique, bringing Nurkic over to help. And now it's Tony Snell versus Rudy Gay. And now he's in range. And now it's gear 1 right stick up in the post range, but he's going to fade, so I can tell he's spinning. So gear 3 right stick up is the fastest recovery at paint contest range for post. So you can see Tony Snell closes out again. This was a medium contest, as you can see Snell's bar is yellow, but that's still good work. That's another miss. So watch how slow. In this instance, I'm using gear 2 with right stick up to contest the fade. So DeRozan is fading here against Oladipo, and I'm using gear 2 contest. You can see I'm there. It's not bad, but it's slow. But now look how fast. You can feel how fast this time is when I use gear 3 right stick up to contest a post fade. Watch how fast Oladipo is. Look at that speed burst. And now I'm over him, closing the distance. He makes it, but that's good contest, right? And versus post spin, you won't see it a lot because it's okay this year. But what you want to do is you want to go in. You want to initially start with gear 1 as he spins, and then when he spins for real, gear 3 right stick up. That stops it enough, and that's LeBron on Hall of Fame, so that's not too bad. Now with all these, you know, gear shifting techniques, once again, please watch tutorial 11 if you haven't. You're gonna be very confused. If you haven't, don't lose your cool, right? Because they're gonna make tough shots. Like that's fully contested. I don't care. Like if he makes that, I let it go. I mean, I show you guys tutorial footage, especially on Hall of Fame and also sometimes online, just because, you know, Hall of Fame is cheese. They have like 10% skill boost, while all of my guys have dropped 10% or something like that. So like these crazy shots are gonna go in, but it's really gonna, you know, improve your fundamentals. But yes, I do really suggest if you want to work on your defense, especially, go play twos in the park, bring a friend, and work on your defensive mechanics, because you're gonna see all kind of craziness in the park, especially against two other human beings either running crazy ISO combination animations on you or running really good pick and rolls. So remember, avoid using L2 around screen at all costs. I'm telling you that right now. Do not be in a defensive stance, because 2K gets you into the screening animation way easier when you're a defensive stance. Feather the left stick, never hold it in any direction, feather it to the direction you want to go, and stay in gear free to get around everything. As you can see, I am literally getting around every screens against a human being who's actually really active screens. Against, like, even against playing out online when a human calls it AI for a screen, it's super easy to, I mean, look at this guy setting on these million screens and I'm getting away all of them because I'm not getting into a defensive stance and I'm using gear free. Great work here. So, if you got any questions, you can leave it in the comment section. Like I said, if you didn't watch tutorial number 11, this was going to be pretty confusing, especially I'm not going to go over the gears technique here again, right? Because I went into detail on what that means in 11. So you can watch 11 to, if you forget or if you need to review, you can watch 11 for that. But I can give you a short summary. Gear 1 is when you're holding turbo while holding L2. Gear 2 is when you're holding turbo while tapping L2. And gear 3 is when you just hold turbo. The key to the whole thing is, you hold turbo throughout the entirety of the possession as long as you're being attacked on ball. Off ball, don't do it. On ball, do it. And make sure you change your pro stick defense to absolute, and just when you want to contest, push the right stick up. Anywhere you go, just push it up, because you have your pro stick defense, not orientation, right? Pro stick defense on absolute. That's the key. Alright, so try these out. Let me know how they work out for you. Obviously, I've gotten a lot of feedback from the gears technique from tutorial number 11, and the feedback has been excellent. This is working for everybody I have talked to, so this is a real technique. So not only does this work for me, this also translates to you guys. So that's excellent news. So make sure you adapt to it if you haven't, because this works. I've also talked to 2K League players on it, a lot of Play Now, and my team guys that play, at a very competitive level. It's making all of them better. I've also talked to some Elite Pro-Am teams, lock defenders, and they also do this now. So make sure you adapt to this, because this is real. This is a real, legit competitive advantage edge. This turbo gears technique work. If you don't know it, watch 11 and then rewatch this again, then you will understand it better. You can understand it better, because this is an advanced tutorial, right? So as always, thanks for coming by. Tutorial coming again on Sunday and Monday on, like I promised you guys, the little guy to crossover, how to speed boost as a little guy. And also another defensive settings tutorial on very, very strong details on how to defend pick and rolls in a in like a 1v1 or 5-on-5 setting. All right. As always, thanks for coming, and I'll see all of you next time.